Welcome to one more episode of Rascast, Tales from Mohawk Ed. This podcast was created for the Mohawk advertising students. Mohawk College is located in Hamilton, Ontario, and the purpose of this podcast is to inspire, give reference, talk with alumni, and give direction for students and advertising programs all over. This week we have a completely different setup. We're interviewing two people at the same time. A copywriter and an art director is Osman Rahmani and Brennen Robson. Both of them work a few years now at Alumni, and they were both from the program from a few years ago. Well, there's a long path into the direction from both former students joined together. So let's talk about that. And please don't forget to follow our podcast. So every week you have a different one here at Spotify. Thank you guys. And let's go with this extra long chapter this week because we have a double interviews together. With you guys now, Osman and Brennen. This is Rascast episode 5. I'm here today with two of my favorite alumni, Osman Rahmani and Brennen Hobson. And the two of them, by destiny on the market, on the industry, are working together for a little bit of time now. And I want to discuss the path for both careers and what they're doing, some of the campaigns they work with. And I'm thrilled to have with me today some of my most talented people that I ever taught in the program. So hello, Oz, and hello, Brennan.
What's up?
What's up?
Damn, son. That was some words right there, man.
shout out to Rob D.
But it's true. That is true, man. It is true. It was a pleasure, and I think you guys have how can I say, a mindset of thinking about stuff in the industry and the ways you guys get through the ideas, and the guys that get passion for what you do is very unusual. So I'm super happy.
Yeah,
Go
AKA
ahead.
is like pretty much low key telling us we're crazy, but I take that as a compliment.
No, we're known. Honestly, like the first couple of weeks working at McCann, we were working on like some little cool pro bono thing for like Dave Thompson House, and like literally, I think after like the first day, they're like, "Okay, everyone do this, Brennan and Oz. You guys just go fucking do whatever you were doing the other day," kind of thing. It was like kind of weird because it was just like almost like we're the fucking wild card. Which was like, oh, interesting. I don't know, Oz, if you have anything else to say.
When you say wild card, I just think of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wild card, bitches, and that's us, pretty much. Yeah.
We're the rat killing team. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Raph.
I know. I want to go back to that specific moment later on. Okay. What I want to talk right now is I always start with us and with your career, Oz. Tell me about your path. How was to find your first internship at Low Roach?
How was it, or how did I find it?
How was it? Oh, how that happens? Yeah.
It was really good. Like, R.I.P. La Roche. It had a young life, but it had many successes throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
It had a good life. It was a great time experiencing that. Like, I find it interesting. Every time I talk to like a senior creative or a creative director, they always said that it's kind of like a rite of passage. Everyone went through La Roche, right?
Even me too.
You did?
I work at La Roche for Sunny Canada. Yeah.
Oh man, nice. You probably told me that. I just don't remember.
I'm a fucking loser. Sorry.
But La Roche is great. It was only 3 months. I tried to extend it, and the creative directors wanted to extend our contract, but agents, like, it was a small agency, so it couldn't really afford me to stay on more, and it was known for to be like kind of like a sweatshop, taking advantage of internships and stuff.
But, oh my god! Okay.
Well, it's not here anymore, so
No problem. No problem.
so, I'm not talking out to the dead. It's just an agency. But it was great. I learned work on insurance. I experienced that. It made me realize I don't really want to work on insurance anymore. But other than that, Jane Murray was the one of the CDs there, and I think Mark Mason was the other CD. They were partners at the time, and honestly, they were great. It was like jumping into the deep end, right? When you start your internship, and but they helped out. They helped me out for the process, and yeah, it was a good way to learn everything in a small amount of time. But honestly, it's kind of true what people say is that your internship, you kind of get 3 years worth of teachings and stuff of that from your college in your internship, right? So
yes, exactly.
But it was amazing. Then I went to another place afterwards, and then after that, I found a full-time gig at Traffic. But yeah, it was great. I was young at that time, and it was fun. And also, it was
because
funny.
you're too young. Come on, because you're too young.
But it's funny though. My ACD there, Gail Pack. She's our CD now, McCann. So it's pretty funny. It's kind of full circle because I was there when she was working there. And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Shout out GP.
GP. She did. I think she didn't remember me when I told her about that though. But yeah.
Do you think it was frightening at the first week at internship? How was it? How do you feel?
I know. Well, you guys kind of prepared us for having our ideas killed. So that it wasn't as intimidating at that time because we went through Jeff and you guys and the whole roster at Mohawk, but presenting was a big fear. And it still kind of is, right? It's a bit intimidating, but you get used to it. It's kind of like a muscle. You just got to work out on it. But before La Roche, I never presented anything to a client before. I guess we had agency experience out, but in my head, I didn't really consider that a real client, right? Because it was pro bono, but yeah, it was pretty intimidating just presenting in front of a whole team though, like 8 or 10 people in the room, and you take the stage and you guys gotta sell the shit out of it. But and yeah, I was pretty awkward at that time. I still am, but it was more obvious back then. But that was more of the scary aspect of starting in the industry is mostly the presenting your ideas to the client. Presenting to the creative directors wasn't much of a big deal. It was pretty much like a numbers game. You show them a bunch of ideas and they just pick which one they want. But
yeah. When you reach the client presentation, then it's game time and
it's game time. Well, it kind of made me realize how it works because you also learn a lot from your first presentation too, right? The process and who does what. I didn't even know what a strategist was until my first presentation. So and any of that stuff. So, but yeah, that was the most intimidating aspect of my internship was.
Then you went directly to spend 2 years at Traffic. How was that experience?
Traffic was amazing. I worked under some of the best CDs I've ever worked for. Troy McGinnis and Cam Boyd. They were really good. They were really good mentors. And it's really important to have those mentors in your career, right? So to help you out. It was a good place. They left after a year, so I was there for another year after they left. And it kind of made me realize that I mostly joined their team mostly because of them, because we vibed really well. But yeah, Traffic was fun. I still talk to some of the people that still work there or used to work there. It gave me an idea it was the perfect blend of a small independent agency while somewhat a bit bigger. It was bigger than La Roche, but it had that small. They had a tight knit family aspect of it. While La Roche, everyone was in their own booth and stuff like that, so it wasn't really open. But yeah, I made a lot of cool friends. I did a lot of first things. Traffic going on an airplane or leaving the country and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool.
What do you mean? You work with a client on abroad?
Oh no! They took the whole office out to a vacation trip in Turks and Caicos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was the last time they ever did it too, so it was pretty nice experiencing that. But they end up selling the company to a packaging firm, and that's one thing that's went kind of downhill for creative. I don't regret going there for. I didn't. It's not like I wasted my 2 years or anything. I learned a bunch. Jake, Yvette, and Jake were the ACDs there, and they were great too. And I still talk to Yvette like a lot of time, like throughout the years and stuff. We're still pretty tight, and yeah, like I didn't really have anything book worthy from there, but it was just nice. It was a nice way to craft my skills and stuff like that. It was always nice to also pitch in on the big ideas too.
So I know that after that you went to McCann, and but before we going there, I want to ask a question for both of you before jumping in into Brennen's path. How important do you think those mentorships are during your time at agency on both of you guys' experience? And do you guys provide also mentorship to new junior people who are at those places?
You want to go first, Brennen?
Sure. Yeah, mentorship is definitely important. Sorry, I'm already getting them. Here's the thing about advertising: people still call you even when you're done work. So. Yeah, sorry about that. I just got distracted there. Yeah, so mentorship is definitely very important. I feel like with the way that I went around with things, it was like different mentors for different things. I felt like, I would have someone who would be a better mentor in terms of like thinking about things in a different perspective or in a more clear way or like in a more kind of directive, objective kind of way of thinking about things. And I've also had different mentors that were more of like the design type of things too, right? I've I've had very very much luck with meeting some people at like when I was interning and stuff that have made me probably 30 like 45% faster at what I'm doing than I was graduating, which was amazing because it turned stuff that felt like, oh, I got this pretty intimidating printout in front of me like that I need to figure out in school kind of thing. They would take you sometimes. It could take you literally like an hour, or sometimes it could take you a day or 2 week kind of thing. It's just because of figuring out like how much love you need to put into it. And it's turned a lot of those kind of projects, from taking 5 minutes to literally like 2 hours. As long as everything comes in ahead with concepting. And of course, that's like not counting revisions and stuff. That's like more like counting things right before I put it, like we put it in front of like our creative directors and such, and even like the accounts team and whatnot. But yeah, just anyone you can grab information from and that would benefit you, listen to what they have to say, and you stick with them in those kind of ways. You also don't just gain like mentorship and all that kind of things. You gain a connection as well, and sometimes a good friend, which is really awesome because those people will really help you out. And not only that, they're really great people to spend time with, So.
How about you, Osman?
Sorry, what was the question again?
It was about mentorship, of receiving mentorship and giving mentorship during your time. How hard it is to get to people to get your trust or trust people to have that relationship, that empathy.
Well, I guess Mohawk kind of started that whole deal anyways, right? Like the professors were pretty much our mentors for 3 years. And they also encourage you to meet with other people outside of the school or like in the industry and show your book around, and somehow you could, I think naturally you'll create some sort of like relationship with that person, and they become a mentor they become a mentor for you without them knowing that really. But yeah, like it depends, like I don't know, like you tend to, like, it's super easy to get, like, your CD will always end up being your mentor in a way, I think, wherever your internship or your full-time position is. That's how I find it. Like, I never really seek for a mentorship. I just let it happen naturally. Because it's about the vibe, your vibe and their vibe. And if it doesn't mingle, then it'll be kind of weird, right? But it is important, though. Like, you need someone to tell you, like, to help direct you. Like, besides just being a creative director, you need someone to, like,
nurture you,
like when during like during the lows and the highs, right? Yeah, like a baby. And I just imagine myself as a baby with my face as an adult on it.
with the mustache.
With the mustache, you have the creepy
Glasses.
mustache. But
Adore me.
no, like I don't really. It's weird because I never really thought about much about mentorships or any of that stuff. It's usually people. It's usually, I guess, it's your surroundings, right? Who you just choose. You naturally choose who you want to hang out with, and your mentor doesn't even need to be like someone obviously senior from you. Like it could be a coworker too, in a way, and it can mentor you in things that isn't just your craft, like writing or anything. It's just inspiration. That's how it is. Like, and that's how I view it. But but as for like mentoring other people, I've never been much of a mentor. But I usually like to try. Like if there's a junior team and if we click well, I like to see what they're working on. And I don't like giving unsolicited advice. I'm not that type of person, but even though like sometimes you end up doing it without realizing it. But I do usually like offer a hand. Like if they need help, I'll help them out. But it's just keeping them feel comfortable and feel like they're part of the team and stuff like that. Like Zach, for example, he's also from Mohawk. He started as a junior McCann like last year, and him and Allison, like Brennen and I hung out with them a lot, and I didn't find that.
Yeah, they're super. I like
Sorry,
them a
pardon.
lot. I like both of them a lot.
Yeah, they. I guess Brennen and I see a lot of ourselves in them, right? They're pretty funny and crazy in their thoughts and like random. So we kind of like that, and it's just like I said, like it happens naturally. We just end up like hanging out with a lot, and it wasn't like we were trying to be their mentors or anything because that's kind of weird. I want to be your mentor. If you're trying too hard to be someone's mentor, that's kind of weird.
No, I think the best way it happens is when it happens naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like, you can't force it, right?
No.
And there are some people who try to force that, like I want to be your mentor type of thing, and it's kind of cringy, no lie. But yeah, for example, Zach and Allison, like I wasn't their mentor, but I like hearing their thoughts and their ideas, and we usually brainstorm together sometimes too. So
we would always kind of say like if you don't like it, you can just tell us to go fuck off, kind of thing. That's like the way we do things. That's how we try to mentor people. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess the way I'm not even sure mentoring. It's just we just like talking about ideas a lot, right? And we're kind of like a sponge or like a wall. You just bounce your ideas off of us, and we'll let you know. It's like kind of like we like to create a safe space for ideas, because our ideas are a lot of our ideas are pretty shitty too. So we don't really judge. But
that's part of the process, isn't it?
It is part of the process, yeah.
Yeah. Letting go all of inhibitions,
Well, Oz is class of 2014, and Brennen is 18, so 4 years later. So I want to now ask you, Brennen, how was the experience at One Method and GWT?
Oh, I fucking forgot about that. That was the hottest minute. Yeah, so they were both interesting because One Method is like kind of is independent, really cool culture. Met some really wicked people there. Definitely like kind of like was definitely like my first take of like getting that mentorship and all that kind of stuff too after school. So it was kind of weird and interesting about how to redevelop that kind of relationship again. But I don't know, it was really cool. It was really unique, especially One Method was very unique in kind of how the way things would like work and stuff. But yeah, like no one had like a designated team or anything like that. It was kind of more like based on who was resourced and stuff and how much manpower they needed kind of thing. They would put teams together, and you would just kind of jam with that person. And I guess maybe their way of thinking with that was you would get something different every time, or maybe it was just something to do with resources and efficiencies with the business. But
so it was a different process.
Oh yeah, it was totally different. It was a lot more design heavy too. I feel like I was doing more like design thinking kind of stuff and like how to make something exciting come to life. Like I remember one time we were doing something for Perrier, and that was a really cool thing actually I got to do for that. And that was like one of those kind of times too where like I would learn things from people and get faster. So I remember literally developing like a cool like little Perrier thing commercial in
Mm-hmm.
like 2 days, and it was like this really sweet animation stuff like that. And I was like, this is like wicked to watch and stuff, and like the cool little, I put like music in there that they're like, oh, we're not sure if we can like do this. We need to make it really cheap. Like, can you just do this? So I literally built all these built all these illustrations and then like animated them, put this music and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
the account team was kind of like, oh, you did all this stuff. Well, like we're gonna send it to them anyway so they can approve the picture. And then they ended up approving everything else too. And they're like, oh, like yeah, so they're actually gonna buy the music and all this kind of stuff, blah blah blah. And I was like, sweet, like so like it was kind of like a cool firsthand about like seeing how I could actually sell things just through like design and like the
Mm-hmm.
artwork and stuff, which is really interesting and really like it's neat to know that. I used to like sell like I used to work at wineries and stuff like that before getting into this industry. So the only way I knew how to like sell things was like through words and trying to entice an experience. But you're kind of leading people in with the visual experience this time, which is pretty neat.
And and that first sensation of seeing your first work being published, whatever
Yeah, it was
media it
good.
is, yeah.
Like I mean, I'm a musician, right? Too. So like
Uh-huh.
I used like I've had published like things a lot, but it's really cool seeing like different kind of things like being published to like this kind of medium being published, and also like obviously to a wider audience,
Mm-hmm.
because like these brands definitely have a mass following. But it's cool, and it's really neat when people comment on it and they're like, oh, like this looks awesome or something, right? And you're like, oh, that's neat. And those are like little small projects too. They're nothing like huge, but yeah, it's something like for something to start off with kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
like you're kind of like developing your craft more, and it's basically being able to practice with an audience,
That's cool.
which is kind of cool.
I want to ask you. Let's go to McCann now, and when you guys are working right now, and McCann Canada, and I remember one specific point of time when Brennan sent me a message say, "We're just finishing our first project here with the Raptors and Mastercard." Can you tell me about that project? Yeah, I remember
Oh man, Brennan's such a nerd.
that.
Fuck. Do you want to talk about this one first?
Yeah,
Because I
both.
feel like it just went off.
I don't know. It sounds like you were super excited about that project when you sent it to
I
Reddit.
Well.
don't know. I guess we were super excited about the time. Like it
Okay,
was like I don't know.
I could speak to it. Don't
You
worry.
can speak to it too, Oz. Go for
I
it,
like
man.
it. It was a cute little project. Uh, what was it? The Raptors thing? Is that what it was, Brennan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was that. Yeah.
I guess that was like our first project that we actually like executed that we were both, proud of. It's nothing crazy or anything, but it was like a part of the cultural moment of Toronto, which is like
Mm-hmm.
the final game of the Raptors defeating Golden State. Uh, so pretty much what we did was like Mastercard is a sponsor of MLCE, uh, MLSE, and
MLSE.
yeah, no, I said it one word, so I just made sure to say it clearly. But yeah, they want to do like a takeover at Dundas Square, just in case if they win. And like usually, the thing about Mastercard is like it's such a big company, right? It's global, and usually when it comes to global clients and stuff, they don't like to have people. They don't like have people fuck up their logo in a way, right? Because it's a strict style guide and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing Brennen, he likes to I guess fuck around with the art direction and stuff, and he's very persuasive as well with the charms. So what we thought of was like because the Massacre logo is red and gold, right, Brennan? I can't see colors, so I gotta confirm it.
Marigold and yeah, it's like marigold and like some kind of red. I forget what the red is. Mandarin or
Anyways,
something like that. Yeah.
we made a connection that the Raptors it matches the Raptors and the Golden State's color. So
Mm-hmm.
we thought like, okay, let's have like a funny little animation of like the circles of Massacre. Like the red one will pick up the gold one, dribble it like a basketball, and like shooting it off in the distance, scoring it. And we end something. We had like have a super saying that like I forgot what the copy was, but
I think it was just history made.
Yeah, history made or something more clever than that. But we thought it was like very cool because it's like the first time that Massacre allowed a team to fuck with their logo. And also like the time, it's one of those ideas where media was a big aspect of it too, because it was like a giant Addenda Square takeover. So they start playing that once the Raptors won the game and won the championships. And it was pretty cool seeing a bunch, like it was like thousands of people there, right? It was like people were like partying outside and seeing our ad in the background saying "History Made." And the I think it was like a blog TO photo. It was pretty cool. But like I said, it wasn't anything crazy or big or anything. It didn't win any awards or anything nuts. But we thought it's like you gotta take the small wins, right? And we thought it was pretty neat. Yeah, we thought it was pretty neat, and we're kind of proud of it. It's pretty neat. Sorry, Brennen would have said it more in a more exciting way than like I'm very monotone, but
I just wanted to give a shout out to Zach though, because like he did like we were kind of like jamming with him about it as well too, and he was helping us out like develop that kind of idea, and we were like, oh, like and then like I don't know, he got with the color thing with us, so I just wanted to fucking shout him out on that.
Well, I wanted to go back a little bit. I think it's before Brennen was there. I wanted you to talk about the Canadian Dream for Chevrolet Canada, Osman. That project.
It's okay. I'm not sure what to talk about. I wasn't the lead or anything. I was just one of the many teams that Paisley was my old partner before Brennen.
Yes, I saw there's a lot of Mohawk alumni on that project.
There were?
Yeah, I think there's you and Paisley and Eric.
Oh yeah, Erickson was there too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was
shout out to Erickson.
Yo,
E
money. It was like a lot. It was like a lot of like the strategy is already there and everything. They were kind of working on the project already when we started. But like any assignment where you're speaking of diversity, you need to add some creatives, I guess, who could reflect that in the creative work. So it was like me. It was like I wasn't the only minority there. Like there was a guy named Benoit, and he was also a writer, and we kind of helped out with writing some of the campaign while I can't really say much about it. I don't remember that project. I just did what I was told to do. But like the deal was already there. It was mostly like it's like a campaign that's like very story driven, where we get real stories about these real Canadians and stuff, and we try and make it compelling. But I can't really recall a lot of things besides like super long work weeks. Because like any of the big projects, the rollout was pretty crazy. We had to push out a lot of things out the door in record time, and it was a lot of nights.
Isn't it always like that?
It is, yeah, it is. But that was like my first. Actually, that wasn't my first time, but it was like one of the biggest campaigns I worked on because it was like nationwide, and there was like hundreds of social posters and banners and all that stuff that had to help writing, and it was pretty cool. It was like the first time being part of the team at McCann, so it was neat. Like, yeah, it was a nice it was like a nice way, and the strategy was pretty cool, and seeing Chevrolet turning.
I thought it was very cool. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool. It was like super simple, the way it should be, and it said a lot in a few words, and and I think I think they retired the Canadian Dream like last year or this year, but it went on for a while, right? So it was pretty neat. Yeah, it was fun working on that one. No regrets, right? Hashtag.
No.
Now we find things.
So tell me about then a campaign that you're super part of it, that you created, and or could be both of you that you say, oh my god, I love that thing I created because of the results and because of the process. Let me know which one, the campaign that you or piece of work that really inspired you guys, that you really enjoy working with.
Well, funny. So we'll list a couple, but most of the time, it feels like I guess Brennen and I as a team, we're usually on the proactive side of the agency where we get signed like we get like work, we do work on like real work and stuff like that, but like a lot of times we usually get put on like proactive ideas where we just got think of ideas for any of the brand, like any of our clients globally, even like in like McCann, New York and all that stuff. So that's pretty neat. But the downside of that is a lot of the time your idea is just a very slow process, and a lot of times the ideas won't get sold, right? But it does show your proof, like it shows your worth of like how you think and stuff to like other creative directors around the globe, around the different agencies, McCann agencies. So that's like usually. So a lot of times we do think of a lot of cool shit that we're really excited for, but a lot of times they never get made. And I'm sure like a lot of creatives probably told you the exact same. Like everyone goes through that, right? So, but I guess Brennen could talk about. He nerded out a lot on this project, but you want to talk about the Petro stuff?
Oh yeah, Raph, you would certainly love this one. Do you know what Carillion photography is, man? Actually, I'll get into that afterwards, but I'll explain the thing first. Sorry,
Sure.
I just got excited. Basically, we're working on this thing called the Electric Highway for Petro Canada, and it was, there's already EV chargers out there and stuff, but Petro Canada was building EV chargers that would get you from east to west coast. And so we had to build this campaign around it. And there was some pretty cool footage stuff where the team beforehand that were working on it too, that we helped out, was they actually went over the cassette, but Taylor and Chris, they had these really wicked ideas that we got to kind of, take and then actually further them even more, especially like into the video kind of world. But when it came to, how do we do something really interesting, like in the digital space that isn't just taking a video and putting it into into a social space? Because that's just like sometimes videos are cool, like spots can be cool when they're especially really good, especially if you're making something like the snake that Droga 5 just did. God damn it. But yeah, but when it comes to a digital space, the cooler that you can actually make the idea or like the crafting of it, like you got to do it. It actually pushes the campaign and idea further, and it can engage audience in a different way too, right? So we had this wicked idea of like, we found this thing called Carillion photography, which is basically, there's two forms of it. One is aura photography, where someone can capture your aura. It's very like, like I think a lot of holistical people are very into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see
But then
that.
there's the other Carillion photography, which is when you charge an object with electricity, and then you actually take a long exposure photo of it, and it creates the object that you took a photo of in electricity. It silhouettes it. So we got to work with a talented illustrator, Rachel Zavarella, and she helped us develop these really cool icons. She illustrated it for them, and then we worked with a photographer. Oh my god, I can't believe I forget his name right now. Oz, do you remember?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Oh my god,
he's from West Side Studios. So
from West Side. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna call that out to him afterwards, but I forget his name right now, which is bad. Anyways, amazing photographer. Usually does a lot of food photography stuff and a lot of food like footage and stuff too. And so we got him to do this because he was like amazing at tabletop, and he went really buck wild with this whole entire experiment. And we call it an experiment because it literally was an experiment. Like, he had no idea what he was doing with it. We all watched videos of pretty much like a lot of Russian photographers trying this stuff out with really dangerous equipment, by the way. So I really don't recommend trying anything that you see in those videos if you want to try this. Yeah, I don't know. Shang Hoon is his name. That's his name, Shang Hoon. Awesome guy.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome photographer too. And yeah, he went through great lengths to do this for us. He met some really, really interesting person too that lent him a 10,000 Carillion photographer machine.
Wow.
Yeah. And he pretty much had to listen to this guy just talk about like how he hooks up his bed to Tesla coils and stuff like that. And it helps him recharge and get rid of bad vibes, which do what you got to do, what you believe in. But it was just really interesting to hear that and get that whole out of it. So I think the coolest thing about this project was kind of like how the unique process of actually just getting to the unique photography, like the unique shoot of itself. And it ended up being really cool because we we took a staging like shots of it, because when you have a lighter voltage, you can see it kind of in parts glow up into like its actual form. So we made these little vignettes of like these icons being charged up. It was really cool.
So
But yeah,
what people should search on Google to find this campaign?
So that's the thing right now. I gotta like Oz, do you have any idea where they can find this stuff? We've been having a problem with that too. So we're really bad at finding our own campaigns.
The thing about
I'm not lying.
The thing about that was like it had like a short shelf life.
Okay.
It went on like we worked. It's funny. We worked on it for a while, right? And the clients were excited. And
because now I want to see it now too. But you guys,
I think if you just search like Petro Canada Electric Highway, you might get something. It's on their Instagram account, I'm pretty sure, right? Because it was mostly social.
I could probably shovel something out.
And you also see the spot that we made. Like there was also like a 30 or 60-second spot that was like the main creative, and the stuff that Brennen was talking about is like pretty much the digital campaign that was like an extension to that. But yeah, the best way to find it is probably on the Petro Canada Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the video and stuff. I'm not sure if you'll find the curling stuff on there. I'm not even sure if because I think it was all sponsored and stuff too, like paid posts. So, but yeah, I can probably forward you something though, Raph.
No problem. I love that story. I want Oz to give me another example now on your side of a campaign that really excited you too.
That excited me.
Excited you about the process or the results, or about how the client worked together, anything.
I think we worked on Brennen and I worked on a project called Barely High. It was for the Ontario government, I believe, right? And pretty much it was like an anti-driving high campaign, because since the legalization of weed, a lot of people are driving high, right? So I'm not saying that people weren't doing that before legalization, but
yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and it was pretty fun. We worked on it with like an awesome creative director team, Chris Duffett and Rob Tricky, and yeah, it was a fun one. Like it was exciting to work on it. We had like it was one of those like any other project. You guys like the project starts very big, then you just chip away to the point that it gets smaller and smaller. So we had like a lot of other ideas that we couldn't. Seeing as the government of Ontario, the budget is very limited, so we can do a lot of cool stuff. But the spots and stuff, we had like 4 spots, and they're short, simple, 15 seconds, but they were funny. We worked with Pelorian Brothers, the directors, and that was like probably the coolest experience was the shoot. We've been on shoots before, but I've never been on like a very funny, humorous shoot, right? And it was just fun to watch those guys working their magic. They worked with the talent in a very interesting way. It's kind of like improv in a way, or that's how I imagine like improv how improv works. But yeah, they were just like making the actors ad lib their lines and stuff like that, play around with the script and stuff. All 20 clients were there too, but they were in a separate room with like a television, because we can't have the laughter be captured on the mic. So
of course.
But yeah, they were having a great time. It was like the first time seeing. I was pretty impressed that the government went with this idea, and it was pretty cool having them excited about it. Then we also created like a social campaign where we use it's pretty much like the telltales of your tells, I guess, the signs you give off when you're high, right? And Brennen being the awesome illustrator he is, he designed a bunch of them, and we worked with this. I forgot this illustrator name. Brennen, do you know who he is? Or
oh my god, I forget his name too. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
Hilarious stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and he pretty much like took what Brennen's vision and made it very cool.
Way cooler.
And he animated it and stuff, like it's very Adult Swim.
I see.
Yeah.
And it was very, like that still surprises me every day that, like I said, the client went with it. And sometimes it's the least expected clients that are usually the ones that surprise you, right?
Can you do a short description of the main idea for people who never saw the ads?
Well, the whole idea is, I guess, like
here, I can do this really quickly, actually. Oh wait, never mind, because I have my headphones on. Yeah. Go ahead, Oz. I'm sorry, dude.
I'm trying to remember the ad itself now. It's been like a
Okay,
year
well,
and a half. But like, do you want to say it?
sure. So like basically these ads are like, you know that you're high kind of thing. But you like when you know you're high, you're really, really high kind of thing. You shouldn't get behind a wheel, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so our ads are kind of poking fun at that. Like one was this woman who's just like, oh, when I'm high, like my smoky eyes are amazing, right? But when I'm
Mm-hmm.
really high, they're kind of okay. And you see her face, and it's like her eyes literally like she went to go put on her smoky eyes, but they literally look like smoky fucking eyes, like someone blew like a a like ash in her face kind of thing, right? Like it's pretty pretty bad. So it's just kind of playing and hyperbolizing like the feeling of being high and knowing like when you're too high. So it's like barely high is still too high. It's like your recognition of being high, and like when like even like when you're high. You know you're high. You shouldn't fucking go behind the wheel. That's plain and simple, actually, what it is. I could have went to a whole entire vortex of just saying, when you're high, you're high. But yeah.
Mm. Well, it amazes me how a, a PSA, yeah, for the government, and you guys sell that kind of idea, that kind of execution. How was the
Yeah.
selling of this project?
So we weren't part of the presentation because it had to be like a small team. It was like a very big project for the agency, and pretty much the big dogs went, like the president, McCann, the VP, and like the ECD, right? So we weren't part of the presentation, but kudos to those guys
Yeah.
for killing it, I
Well,
guess.
most definitely, yeah.
But I'm sure they probably wouldn't have picked that campaign if we were the ones selling it. But no, I joke. But no, yeah, it was really cool. Like government, honestly, like if you look in the history of Canadians PSAs, there's a lot of good ones, and usually like a lot of the best Canadian ads are like PSAs. Like there's also like what was like the smoking anti-smoking one, like casual
Oh yeah,
smoker.
that's a
Like
good one.
that's
Yeah.
like a big one, right? And I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
Jeff worked on the one project where like the work safety stuff, right? So and yeah, so the Canadian government has like a long history of really good ads, and it's pretty nice to be having an ad as good, not as good, but like maybe like it's up there with the other greats. And
Hmm.
yeah, and honestly, the insight's very true. Like barely high is still high. Like people usually say the excuse that I'm just barely high. I'm like I'm good enough to drive or do this task, and obviously no, you shouldn't be driving. So we thought that insight was interesting, and we're targeting younger people too, so it's pretty common with them,
Hmm.
given that excuse. But yeah, like I don't know. Actually, they did like a whole case study stuff and all that stuff, and I didn't really take the time to look into it before this meeting. But I assume it was successful. Everyone I knew saw it, and I had friends and stuff. It's like the one ad where friends and family were like, texting me saying that, like, "Oh, did you work on this?" and all that. It's like, "Yeah, it was fun," and they're like, "Cool, good job," and yeah, that's it.
Oh well, I want right now. Then I want to get you guys to one aspect on getting to the college through the workforce. So this podcast is targeted for students in second and third year, students about to graduate, students want to be inspired to get into the industry or trying to get into industry. And I want you guys to talk to me about uh, some of your best memories from your time in Mohawk.
Oh, the drama. No, I'm joking.
The-
Drama.
Rap knows what I'm talking about. No, but no. Like after like the first year, like it gets better in my opinion because people, like all the people who didn't take it seriously, they all drop out and stuff. So you pretty much get stuck in this nice, like interesting group of people who are actually taking it seriously, and because it's pretty intimidating at the first sort of halfway through the first half of the second year is that like you're not exactly sure who to work with, but you by the time you're in third year though it's just easier to work with people and you'll find people that you click with. Like myself, like I end up partnering up with a guy named Eric, and we work really well. and pretty much our whole book is stuff that we worked on together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but like memories wise, like it's usually the late nights where we work on like award submissions, contests and stuff, and like in the agency. Like I don't remember much of the first year, to be honest. I was trying to live it up and like
Uh-huh.
have a good college experience. Then I kind of regret it like the year afterwards. But somehow I'm not sure if you remember this. I was trying to be an art director at first, right, Raph?
Yes,
Then
yes, I remember that.
then you and Jeff found out I was colorblind and persuaded me to be a writer. But I was like, I still remember that meeting. It was pretty funny. Because I think I was working on this like magazine cover, and you're like questioning the colors I was picking. And in my head, I thought it looked really cool, but you said no, it looks like diarrhea on the cover.
Diarrhea. No,
Wow.
I'm kidding.
But at that time, to be fair, at that time I didn't know that you were.
No,
colorblind.
I told you right away after that. I think I'm colorblind. It's like, oh yeah, okay. No, but you guys worked around it, right? With my, I guess it's not really like kind of like a little handicap, but like honestly though, like the best times I guess were like the friends you make. It sounds like a fucking stupid holiday card or something, but it is honestly though.
But it is true.
It is true. Like I still like remember Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah, he lives across the street from me, and like I'm still tight with him. I get coffee with him every day. And Pierre, who's also from Mohawk, he's my roommate.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, he's my roommate, and I still talk to Cassie, Brienne, Devin. I'm pretty sure I had drinks with him on Friday actually. And you still talk to these people, right? They're like, okay, they're in the industry with you, but those people were a year under me or 2 years under me, and like, but you still get to know those. Like I encourage like people in third year to talk to people in the first year and the second year too, because you wouldn't like, I don't know, they might be your boss someday, right? So it'd be. And
I agree with you.
Right?
I've seen cases already. Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, and like honestly, the students you guys are like producing right now are like really great. It's funny though. I was talking to like another person when I was a student. I was in third year. I was showing my book to Ryan. I forgot his last name, but he was saying that, oh yeah, your book is way better than my book when I was in second year or third year, right? And I find it interesting that a lot of people say that when you show your book when you're a student, whatever. But by the time like when students go up to you while you're like 4 years into the industry, their book is way better than what your book was at that time, right? When you're in third year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I guess because technology is getting better and better, it opens so many opportunities to think of crazy ideas. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just totally. I'm totally going off on a tangent.
And we try to work harder too, us to always push harder and harder as much as we can.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and it's not easy too.
I know that for sure. Like you, Jeff, and you guys, and like Nancy, and all those. Is Nancy still there? I don't remember. But
she retired last year. Last year.
Oh, great! That's awesome. Or even like Joe and Robin, Janice.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much, yeah. They prepared us, for the industry. Like maybe the 100 headlines was a bit overkill from Jeff's point of view, but it does set you up to, right? It is a number game. When you start off, you're not really confident with your work at that moment, right? So the more you write, the better it is, and you have more options. But as you go and continue your career, you'll get more confident, and you're able to filter out your best lines, and you end up writing less pages. Comes quicker to you, right?
Definitely.
It's a good process. But like going back to your question, like any memories? Yeah, it's just usually the late nights, to be honest. Those are like the ones I remember the most. Are everyone in the Mac lab or in the agency working either on their books or award submissions, like contests for the one show or the what was the one thing that we won silver for?
National Advertising Challenge, the ADCC, Apply Arts,
CMAs.
CMAs, yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Going to my first awards ceremony for that. Like,
cool.
At the time, I thought it was a big award show or whatever, but I soon realized that it's mostly for like the business side of advertising. But it was still pretty fun. Seeing Jeff dance was pretty funny. I wish I recorded that. But
do they play country music at the CMAs?
no, it's not the Canadian, not the country music awards.
I know. It was a joke.
It's the
How about you? How about you, Brennen? Same question. How's your members from that you remember the most from college?
Yeah. Shake Shack was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, you guys went to New York, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck, Rap? You guys sent us to New York?
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Rap.
The better part about this, the best, and it's not even a memory. It's actually something I get to do every day. But it's something to do with the memory that actually, and we're doing it right now, is talking about our experience at Shake Shack too, and getting Oz really upset about it.
I guarantee Jeff will be pissed off too. I guarantee. When you hear that.
Wait, what did you guys do in New York? Was it for the one show?
Right there with one burger. Sorry. Pardon?
Were you guys in New York for the one show?
No, we were just visiting and stuff. Okay, so you're trying to make fun of us there? Is that what you're doing?
No, I don't. I just want to know why you guys went to New York.
No, we went to New York too. That time it was just to do visiting agencies. So we went to. Oh, with you, we went to Gray, isn't it? Gray and Work and Co. Work and Co. in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Brooklyn is fucking dope.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is dope. But I think the most memorable parts were like 4 times there, sitting in Jeff's little office with you guys and just shooting shit. Those are probably the funniest and the most memorable parts, because not only was I just having a laugh with you guys, but it was also a little bit of a learning experience too. A bit of like I don't know, subconscious sponge. I pick up on like little things and that you guys say, or like, oh, what's funny about this idea, or you'll even reference something that I wouldn't know, and then I would have to go and search it up later, and then learn about that, and that helped me out a lot too. And also, I didn't know there was tech videos either, so that's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, I think the cool thing, like I also like that experience in that little closet room, right? Just you guys were like an expertise, like you guys were pretty much like walking Wikipedia of ads, right? And like, it was nice. Like I didn't know honestly a lot of ads when I started the program, so like it was, and I guess like you learn a lot from looking at past winners and past great ads and stuff, right? So it was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Absorbing all that information from you guys. But I'm not sure about you, Brennen, but I've always liked to push, I guess, Rap's and Jeff's comfort zone with ideas. Like, I like to think of, like, crazy ideas and, like, see how far I could take it. And, because Jeff always encouraged the team I was in to, like, think of.
Yeah.
He always expected it for some reason, but I always like to think of like batshit insane idea to see like to make him feel uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I thought
that's one thing that I like about you was that you really push the idea to be. What is that? One of your idea was the PlayStation thing, the video game. Tell about that idea. Yeah. That idea was good.
All right, it's for Xbox, and it's called like. Was it for Xbox? But it was called Teabagging for Cancer, and the whole deal was that it was for November, and pretty much the deal was that a lot of gamers at the time, I'm not sure it's not anymore really, but like at the time when like console games were very big, and like Halo and Call of Duty, a big thing that people did to troll other players is teabagging them, which is when you crouch your player over like a dead person's face, and like dipping your nuts into their face. It's a cruel thing to do, right? Because it's very toxic too. It's kind of like low-key bullying someone in a way, or like shaming them. And I thought it was like a pretty interesting angle. I was like, okay, nuts to the face. There's something funny about that. And then we end up like, okay, teabagging is about. I mean, not teabagging. Movember is about prostate, and it's like below about cancer, right? So testicular and prostate. And we thought, okay, that could be an interesting way to tie these two associations together. So we thought of teabagging for cancer, which was encouraging gamers, because a lot of gamers weren't doing Movember in their research. It's usually because a lot of them are younger and immature, or they couldn't grow facial hair at the time. So we thought like this gives them like a reason to start like joining Movember through their video games, where they will get sponsors and followers to support their crusade or the good deed, right? We're turning this negative aspect of gaming into a positive. That's pretty much what the deal was. And funny enough, though, Brennen and I were still trying to sell the idea, like literally like 3 months ago.
Oh.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like our creative director was always saying, "Why you keep on pushing this deal on me?" I was like, "I don't know."
Or dude, it's hilarious. The one time too, I think the last time we presented, he said, he's like, "Oh, this is funny, but I've actually seen this before." And they were like, "Yeah."
We showed it to you like 4 months
We
before
showed
that.
you.
He's like, "Look,
But,
you've seen this before. Like you've seen it from like you've seen it presented from us." It was kind of funny.
yeah, we were trying to push the idea again because Fortnite is such a big game now,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and like Halo and the new Xbox coming out, a new PlayStation, a new Halo. So, but we're just not sure if teabagging is such a big thing now because in the early 2010s and the 2000s, like it was like a phenomenon. People were just doing it all the time, right? And but yeah, it was kind of like an idea that was working at the time, but maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't make sense now. But yeah, like that was like one idea. Like honestly, and I was gonna say one of the memories I liked was I'm not sure if you end up continuing doing it, but in our year, we started like a summer course type of thing where we meet up like once a week throughout the summer. It's either for photography or just thinking of ideas to help our books out for the third year. It was like between 2nd and third year, and I guess you didn't do. I think we're the only year that you guys did that, right? I'm not sure if you remember this, but we were doing like photography stuff, and you were teaching us how to do, shoot cameras and stuff like that. While
Yes.
we were also building our ideas for our books, and that's where teabagging came from. It was like during one of those random brainstorming sessions with you.
Yeah.
And,
I even remember the squishy sound effect that you guys put it into the video.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, that's
It was funny. We googled discussing squishy sound, and that was the first thing that came up. So
okay. So we reached now our final part of the podcast, and I want to ask you guys two things. First of all, what you guys suggest to the students current on advertising programs to focus into when they are in the programs right now?
okay.
Which skills, soft skills, and hard skills that you guys think are the most important?
Well, first, don't like this is a universal skill outside. It's not even it matters outside of advertising. It's just a life skill.
Sure.
Don't be a dick, So
Uh-huh.
yeah, don't be a dick, man.
like you'll see some advertising agencies even having signs. It's like assholes aren't welcome, right? But honestly, that's a big thing. Like, is especially when you're young and you want someone to, uh, take you on, right? You just gotta like be grateful and you should be accepting everything. You should be ready for anything, whatever. Just don't never fight back on. Like there's like a fine line of like being passionate and being an asshole, right?
Mhm.
So like yeah, it's nice to be passionate, but sometimes like you got to know your place, right? But yeah, don't be a dick. You won't find. I know people who were dicks when they were students and they couldn't find a job afterwards, right? So like it's personality is a big thing for sure. And another lesson is honestly like reach out, like especially if you're a student, reach out to anyone that you admire when it comes to creative work and stuff like that, and like have them take a look at your book and give and everyone would give you everyone would love to like sit down with you and like not I guess not now but like review your book and like give their opinions on it and all that stuff. Like I still do it. Some students in Mohawk usually randomly email me, or even some random colleges that I usually ignore because I'm biased. I only talk to Mohawk kids, and yeah, like yeah, just like that's how I found an internship very quickly, or like a full time position. It was like networking in general, right? Like when you're like showing your books around and getting like directions or like tips or advice or like opinions on how to make it work better, you're building a relationship at that point, and you can always contact the person later on if they're like if there's a job opening. And if that person ends up liking you a lot, like they'll even offer you like an internship or something. And that happened several times to a lot of people I know, even to myself. So like yeah, don't burn any bridges by being a dick, and always make sure to find a new door or window, right? Like a new place to, like a new opportunity or whatever. Or always make sure to talk to as many people as you can. Even just a simple email. It's like, hey man, I'm like a student and and like I love your work. I love what you did for this campaign, that campaign, and it would be really cool if you could like take a look at my book, and hopefully I could pick your brain and make my book even better. And you're building a relationship. And like another tip is when they give you like advice and like their opinion, do those fixes, do those changes, and send it back to them. Because one thing I know for sure is a lot of creative directors told me this is that it's usually a test for them. They know if they don't come back to you after you spend some time with them, giving your own opinion. Because these people are very busy, right?
Of course.
They'll just neglect you afterwards, right? Like they know that you're not taking it seriously. So like you got to make sure to like take it seriously and take their opinions, but treat it like a focus group, right? So like if you're talking to a bunch of people and everyone has like very similar feedback on one campaign, do those changes. But if one person out of like 10 had like a different opinion on something, maybe don't do those changes, right? Because you have like 9 other people telling you that it's fine how it is or do something else. So like try and treat it like a focus group, but also you'll probably end up making multiple different portfolios anyways for different people that you want to like work with. I remember making like 5 different print ads of the same print ad, right? Based on like 5 different people I showed my book to. And hopefully you don't get like into that type of desperation at that point. But yeah, like honestly, like you gotta take their opinions seriously. And yeah, don't be sorry. I think that's like the true advice is don't be a dick and be grateful of people time and be a sponge, absorb as much information and as possible, right? So it's about learning, and you'll always be a student. Well, you should have that mindset anyways if you want to be in advertising or any creative industry.
It never ends. It never ends.
Yeah, you can always be better, right? So don't if you have that attitude that you're hot shit, you're probably not. There's always gonna be someone who's better than you. So you just got to be humble, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Marco. He's probably like the most modest, humble person I know for my year, and he's also a copywriter.
Oh yeah, his definitely will be here. On the podcast.
You should get him. People use it for ASMR mostly for this podcast. He has like such a sweet, gentle voice, but yeah, like honestly, though, don't be a dick. Reach out to as many people as you can. Don't reach out to random people that you never seen their work for. Like people can see through that. Take the time to look through the people's work that you're reaching out to. And
be excited about it.
Be excited. You gotta be excited. Like if you're not positive or you're not excited, especially when you're a student, then that's not a good sign, right? Like it's totally normal, like losing your excitement when you're in like 4 years into the industry or whatever. But people get jaded. That's how it is. But as a student, the world's your oyster. You can think of any fucking crazy shit as you want, right? There's like it's carte blanche. You have no budgets or anything. You can pick any clients you want. So you should take advantage of that, and that's what creative directors expect in your book. They don't want to see anything super grounded or realistic or anything. You're a fucking student, right? Like you can work on anything and just have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, what's the point? And yeah, I guess I'll probably think of more when Brennen speaks, but that's all I can think of right
now. Go ahead, Brennen.
What was the question again, though? Clearly,
I love you guys. The question was, what kind of a recommendation you will give to students who are actually on the second and third year right now? What they should focus when it comes to soft skills and hard skills?
Okay, that's great. Kind of exactly what Oz said. So, like, I don't know. I had no idea why the fuck one method got me as an internship. It was really fucking weird being the only guy wearing a flannel shirt and everyone else is like, like pretty like city. It's cool, but like that goes to show that like like how you act is like one thing, like and like how good your work is another. People really really want like smart people, you know what I mean? But they also want people that are like-minded too. So like an internship, like in my case, like when I was starting that off, I think it saved me when I was talking to people and they were kind of like, oh, you know what, this guy isn't like so bad at all. You can actually relate to him, right? So relating to people is the most important thing, and being a very like unrelentless and persistent with contacting people, and kind of like exactly what Oz said, searching for the people that you do want to contact, right? And those people too will also, if you do get the chance to meet them, they will, if they're excited about your work, they're going to be excited to share your work as well too. I remember having people like message me before and being like, "Hey man, I love your book. Can you come and talk to me?" And I was like, "What? Like, can you like you want to see my book? You're asking me to come in so you can see my book." I didn't even think they wanted to hire me or anything like that, but they wanted to keep me as a prospect in the future, right? Now this guy is a creative director, um, uh, just at Public or whatever, but like he's a really cool guy, John Lane, awesome dude. But like, yeah, that guy, like when he messaged me, I was like, holy shit. So like when you go and you just give out stuff, be really excited, be very passionate about what you do. Don't be an asshole like Oz said. Um, uh, listen to everything they say, even with soft skill stuff. Holy shit. In fact, I think most of my problems that I had is kind of like the problem I'm having right now is I'm very intense with my speaking. I'm very loud and intense. I like to go off on a bunch of stuff. I'm just very passionate about these things and talk about them like very, very intensely as I go through or whatever. Sorry about that.
I'm the opposite.
But
It kind of works out.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
That's the good part about you, Brennen.
Yeah.
one of the best parts of you is this excitement. I never stop.
Don't encourage him, Raph.
Yeah.
Don't encourage him. But it's also one of the things though too, where like I've actually been talked to before, where it's just like, hey, like your personality is so strong that you're actually you're kind of not intimidating, but you're kind of intimidating the people who actually work here. And that like when I was like first starting out kind of thing.
Really?
And then oh yeah, and then I actually not intimidating like, man, they're like working with really smart people, but I think just like because I was like very like, oh this, and like kind of aggressive about it. And I wasn't like being like an asshole or anything like that, but I was like very just like excited.
It wasn't intimidating is the wrong word. It's more overwhelming in a bit.
Yeah, overwhelming. Yeah, not intimidating. Sorry. Yeah.
Like overwhelming even sounds bad, but like it just speaks to your passion. You just like to talk about ideas, right? And people aren't used to people coming in like the Kool-Aid man and saying, "Yo, ideas," and like you just
exactly.
It's like an avalanche of ideas.
It's totally cool being the Kool-Aid man sometimes. It's totally cool when you do that because people are like, "Holy shit, this guy just came out of nowhere and blasted us with this. What the fuck?"
But it works out though. Like it's funny though. Okay, Brennen, like and myself, like we're like not alike a lot. Like when it comes to like our personalities, even though we have we share a lot of interests in the same things. Like when it comes to music, movies, and all that stuff. But like he's very he can talk to anyone. He's very approachable, right? Well, I'm pretty reserved. I like to hold back a bit, but it kind of works out, right? And that's very important when you're like trying to find a partner. You got to find like what work your strengths and your flaws, right? And usually, most cases, the writer is usually the one who just presents the creative and stuff. But I feel more comfortable with Brennen doing that because he's such a great speaker, and he gets everyone. He gets every year perk up and like in the room, and like everyone pays attention to him because he's so excited. But if I do it, I just sound dead because I have like a very monotone voice.
Think about us as like a really like oh my god, it's the unexpected dog and cat friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it works out. But another great point is another great tip though for students is a lot of places are looking for teams instead of individuals. There's some cases where like, an individual get hired, but usually teams you get a better chance of being hired on as an intern or even like as a junior team. It's just because the chemistry is already established. They already know that you guys get along well, so it's less of a risk of the employer, right? And it's nice to have that. I'm not sure if anybody found like their go-to partner or not in third year or second year, but like I do kind of encourage it. Like, maybe I'm just a special case, because I worked with one person throughout the 3 years at Mohawk, right? And we worked along very well. And but it does help. And if you guys don't have a lot of like pieces together, then maybe start working on some of those pieces together. And because creative directors are looking for like teams mostly instead of like individual people. They don't care if you're good at copywriting and art directing. They want a copywriter and they want someone else as an art director, right? That's how it should be. But yeah, this is just a tip. Like you don't have to, obviously like it doesn't matter or not. But I've just it's something I noticed is that they hire more teams than they do like people who are soloing it.
That's a super good tip.
Yeah,
so,
and
thank you.
I guess another tip is like for soft skills, like when I was there for 3 years in Mohawk, like we didn't do much presenting besides like presenting to our peers and to you guys. But we never. I think it was like it was like a Kobo. What was the?
Yes, Kobo.
Yeah. We had to present to your buddies who were like working at that company, right? And that was like a first taste of like doing a real pitch or a presentation. And yeah, just starting early, like when it comes to like public speaking skills, like that helps a lot. I kind of wish I did more public speaking when I was in college, but you like I said, like when you're interning and stuff, you get shoved into the deep end, so you'll eventually start learning those skills. But that's like a really good, important soft skill, and also like time management is a very important thing too.
Yeah, since last year we're doing completely revamp. We're gonna set up now exclusive class for just presentations.
Yeah, it does help a lot. I'm not sure if a lot of people told you guys like throughout the years that that's like an important thing to.
No, it is, but you usually do on a lot of classes have presentations. But now we're gonna do one that is super hard on presentation itself.
Yeah, just like yeah. From what I remember, we never had a class teaching us skills how to present. We just presented our work, but that sometimes makes you present. That makes you don't really get taught like how to present properly. Like for my case, like I presented very casually. I swore, and all that stuff. But you can't do that in front of a client, right? So, so yeah, that definitely will set up some of your students up for success for sure.
Oh yes, that's happening.
And
thank you very much.
Yeah, and I think another thing, I'm not sure if you guys are doing this right now or not, is briefs weren't a big thing in our year, like in my 3 years, but like what was new to me when I started my internship was briefs and like strategy. I didn't know what an insight was until I started my internship, and because if I remember, the way we worked was like here's a client, like now think of a bunch of ideas, right? It's more of like a ideation exercise. But all feedback I had when I was a student was that a lot of my ideas, the tones don't work for the brand. Like even though your ideas could be crazy and big and stuff, it still needs to work with the tone of the brand, right? And I remember one, like it was like for Dove for men. And our ads, like my spec work was like very influenced on Old Spice type of tone, right? Even though Dove for Men was less like that, right? And a lot of people made comments about that. So making sure the tone is right for your work, especially if you're showing like a spec client work to someone who actually works for that client in their agency. They'll probably they'll probably be stern about it. Another thing is that insights and ideas, like knowing the difference of an insight and an idea statement, and like backing up your creative with that, right? Like
I think Brennen got already a changing from your time, us.
Yeah,
on the strategic planning part. Yeah, we did a lot of.
I was gonna. Sorry, Rob. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I feel like an asshole now, but
go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is like the whole thing, though, too, right? It's just like how you keep on saying every year is different. Every year is something new, right? So
yes,
like it's great. We totally got we got into that. There was one thing though, is like I would love to see. Maybe you're doing it now, maybe not, but like I think the most important thing is like having the accounts and like people like that try to write the brief too, taking what they get from the client, especially in your third year, like kind of thing. That'd be really sweet. If they could actually learn how to properly write briefs. Some briefs could be better than others.
Yeah, like,
I feel like.
Sorry, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, we feel like having that skill, writing like out of school, would be like really beneficial for that, like a person to do that. I guess that's more of like an account person thing or whatever. But like, yeah, because Oz does has a point too. Like whenever we're coming up with stuff as well, like there's a USP and an objective and stuff, but sometimes we're finding our own insights. But you guys did tell us like these like this is what insight is and stuff like that. Now actually, what we're going and talking about now, Oz and I just separately, is dissecting an insight. Like if it's a true insight or not, right? When you go and someone says, "Oh, this is our insight," we're like, "No, that's not an insight. That's an observation." So it's like those are like the new kind of things too, as well, right? To actually like peek into someone emotionally. So that's the one thing I do want to say about that. That it would be nice to see that. Maybe you guys are already doing that. Hopefully, I made myself like clear when I said that in terms
Sure.
of just like the way that I was talking. I'm sorry. Sometimes
No
I can talk
problem.
in circles, so I don't want to do
No,
Yeah,
that.
no, 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 no. That's
yeah.
But yeah.
fine.
Just make sure that each of your campaign has an insight, and like because you got to treat it like a case study,
Yeah.
in
But
a way.
Hey guys, go ahead.
strategic planning in general, though, I feel like like whenever we do a big idea campaign, that's strategic planning class. But I guess the other thing to say too is that like, and once again, I don't want to like, I don't know. Sometimes when you're in a group with people, some people, and this I feel can be said all around, but like, you know, someone's supposed to find it kind of thing for you, so it helps you out. Um, uh, and then you're supposed to take that. Like usually, strategy would do that, right?
Hmm.
Or the accounts too, from taking it from the client kind of thing. And I feel like the strategy class really helped out in deciphering how to identify those things and create a big idea and campaign around it, which
Hmm.
is definitely like every time when we would work on something, be like, okay, yeah, that's it. Um, and I think the only reason why we're saying this right now is just because we want people to think about this even stronger. Like even in strategic classes, like if you have a creative person who's thinking about this insight, like the product insight or whatever, like I would love it for them to drill that into like everyone's heads kind of thing, or even like strategy too, right? Because these people need to know coming out that's like an insight is like a very true and honest human thing. And when you get something that's like, oh, like a vehicle for every Canadian or something like that, that's not like a natural brief, but like you're kind of like, oh, like I don't know, like something's got to give or something. I'll give you another example after that because I'd kind of prefer if you deleted that too.
No, go ahead.
The
No, I
vehicle
don't.
example, sorry. um, uh, but yeah, just like saying that, like oh, like I don't know, yeah, like a Canadian food for like a food, the steak for every Canadian or something like that, right? Like you can't say like that's an insight because it's not true. That's not like a communication, right? That's not a USP. There's nothing about that. And fortunately, sometimes you get that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And so it'd be really good just for, I guess, for them to know like how to get really specific about things with that insight and stuff. I might just went and dragged on way too long there. So feel free to delete any of that, dude. I don't know.
No problem. I will go. I will go now. And thank you very much for both insights on this. This is very good. I no,
Man.
what I wanted to ask is the last question. What is the common mistakes you see when you guys are reviewing books from students?
Well, yeah, insight again. I don't know. A lot of when you it's funny. I was on the other end of the conversation as a student too, right? Like when it's pretty intimidating when like a creative in an agency that you're showing your book to tells you, okay, what's the insight for this, and you can't really think of it, right? When I was like a student, I was like, oh, the deal was just cool. That was my
Hmm.
excuse, but yeah, just like I said, you got to know the deals that you're showing. You got to know it inside out. You got to have whatever you're going to be talking about prepared.
Mhm.
That's why, like I said before, treat your campaigns as case studies. Like, do look at one pagers of can winners or
Yeah.
one show winners, right? They usually have like the ideas in one page with a little write up. They break it down from insight, idea statement, and like how it works, type of thing. And it's kind of like what the NSC stuff, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, I think that just makes it easier for yourself and for the person reading your book to understand your idea, uh, especially if it's like a bigger idea. But yeah, that's like one thing for sure is like you got to know your ideas inside out. You got to be confident with them, but also like you just got to be open to opinions. You're there for a reason. You're asking for advice or opinions and stuff. You shouldn't be fighting on every feedback the person's giving to you, right? You're taking time out of their day to like you're asking for unsolicited. You're not even it's not unsolicited advice because you're there for advice. So like be open to it. Don't attack any. Don't fight back on feedback and stuff. Like best tip I've heard from my boss is like, okay, yeah, I'll take that back and think about it, right? Just listen,
Hmm.
just hear them out. Uh, but like who knows? I may be wrong. The person might be wrong, or I may be wrong, right? Like, but it's still nice to like give them a chance to like speak their opinion. But yeah, like be open to opinions. You're there. That's mostly why you're there for. Like, or that's how you usually made it out to be like, right? Like I know, everyone's obviously aware that you're looking for an internship and you're there. Hopefully, you
Hmm.
get an opportunity, but the most case that they'll be just looking at your book without giving you internship anyways. But yeah, just be open to their opinions and stuff. Address their feedback or not, who cares? But like I said before, it's usually nice to follow up with the changes, right? If you're taking it seriously, or if you like the person you showed your book to, and yeah, like just be like I said, be approachable, and be excited for about your work for sure. And but one thing, yeah, you just gotta be casual too. Don't be very formal. Like one person who came in with a suit, it was kind of weird. I'm not like I don't want to like talk shit about this person, but like he was like really great dude and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe business you gotta do that, but like creative, like you just gotta be yourself, man. The weirder the better, I think. Like my first meeting, my interview with Troy and Cam for Traffic. I had a
Mm-hmm.
fever. I still went. I shouldn't have, but like I was kind of like I didn't want my partner to go by himself, so I went with like I commuted from Hamilton to Toronto with a fever. So I wasn't really thinking straight, but like I was saying, like I had no filter at that point because like when you're meeting someone, especially if it's an interview, not just showing your book. Like the interview process, the secret is that if they're calling you for an interview, they already saw your book. They like your book. It's more of a personality check at that point, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
so, don't pretend to be someone that you're not because you're gonna be working with that person every day. And just be yourself. Every creative, like honestly though, like a lot of creatives are alike when it comes to humor and stuff. And weirdness isn't like taboo or anything. We kind of encourage weird people to go this to be in advertising and like honestly like when I was like what was I gonna say sorry I was telling dead baby jokes to Troy and Cam and he ended up hiring me
Oh my
anyways.
god.
I know, but like it kind of showed like who I was, right? Like, and they expected me to say like fucking terrible jokes every week because of that. So at the office, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Like I shouldn't have got if it was like someone else, they probably thought I was a fucking complete weirdo. But like you gotta take your chances. If you vibe with the person well, if they like your book already, then like be yourself. Don't be someone that you're not. Like that's another good advice is like a lot of times, but when a student comes and like when students from Mohawk come to me with their books and stuff, I feel like that a lot of them don't really have personality. A lot of the work you see the personality through the work and stuff, but that's still kind of like not a good thing because you should be like a chameleon in a way that you shouldn't. I shouldn't see someone's work and it's like, oh, that's definitely this person's work, right? Because it's like their brand. It's like their type. It's their style. Like as a creative, you got to work in different tones and stuff. So you got to be a total chameleon about that. So I shouldn't see your like some projects. Yeah, I should tell you that I should be able to tell your personality through them, but not your whole book, right? And I should when I meet with you, like you got to be you be yourself. Like that way, I can know that you're like who you are in a way. A lot of times, like when I talk to people who are students, I don't really get to know them as much, right? Either they're shy or they don't really talk a lot or they don't like me. I don't know. But
No, you're probably afraid. You're probably scared.
yeah, they see my mustache or my big burly beard at the time. Like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? But no, like you got don't be afraid of who you are. Just, show who you got. I always tell Brennen this, like, let your freak flag fly. I want to know most like. If I'm meeting with you, I probably already lurked your book online when you sent me to it, right? The only reason I'm asking you to come to meet me is because I want to get to know you a bit more. And there was like these two creatives who I think they just got hired full time at LG2. Brendan and I took a look at their books, and
Pretty funny.
And their books are great, and we had a great time going through their stuff. And they were open to ideas and opinions and stuff like that, and they did like a really great job. And somehow they turned their internship into a full time position during like this whole fucking COVID situation, right? So. Oh, I forgot their name. I think Shia was one of them.
I think it's Shay.
Shia, Shay,
Shay? Yeah.
She's great, yeah. She's great.
Yeah, they're awesome, right? But like, I honestly, I got like, I knew who they were, like, within 30 minutes, right? Because they weren't holding themselves back.
Quirky, weird, and funny, man.
Yeah, they're great, and their books are great and stuff like that. It was nice, like.
That's Larissa and Shay, I think.
Yeah, Larissa, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
how about you, Brennen? How was you being the other side of the table, Brennen?
Oh, what? Seeing the stuff and like just
you'll be the one reviewing books. Yeah.
It's weird. Totally weird.
It is
I
weird.
still
How
ask
come?
for advice.
How come?
So I'm not a good teacher at all. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I can just talk to someone. I'm also sometimes like when it's completely like if I don't vibe with the person kind of thing, then I feel like not like vibe, but like I feel like I can't be like comfortable with them. Then I feel like I can't really like give them that full Brennan experience, I guess.
Oh,
um, uh, but sometimes I can't. Like when we actually met with those two, they were kind of weird and stuff like that, so it felt a little more comfortable. Plus, it was Oz, like it was both of us, like talking to them. Um, uh, so Oz also kept me in check too with that. So he does that from time to time, where I go off and he's like, "So," and then yeah, I'll be like, "Okay,
no,
that's
it
my
was
cue
funny
to
though
shut the
because
fuck up."
Brennan had to I had to interview Brennan to be my partner, and he
Mhm.
didn't hold back at
That's
all,
true.
and that's why I liked him
No.
because he was like talking shit that I didn't give a shit about, like wine and stuff. But I was like, this guy has passion. So and like his book was amazing too. And Leo, who was like an awesome creative from Mohawk, recommended Brennan
Mhm.
a lot too. So but yeah, like Brennan, like it was funny though because he's my art director right now. But like at the time, like I was like talking to someone else too, and like but like Brennan obviously was like he had no shame of who you shouldn't be shameful of, like how you are because I wish I had the same traits of being like super talkative and all that stuff too, but I don't. But yeah, like he was exactly like who I was saying what I was saying earlier is being yourself is like the best thing to do. It's not like that. Obviously, that advice doesn't work when you're dating or anything, right? But it's mostly just meeting. Like when you're going on a date, don't be yourself if you're crazy. Be a better version of yourself. But in creative though, like industry wise, you're gonna be with that person every day at work and stuff, and like imagine like pretending to be that person you were in the interview every day. Oh man, that would be exhausting. And people get like imposter syndrome too in this industry, so like that'll probably be like an extra weight on you.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, sorry, Brent, I just totally fucking took over.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore,
We're
man.
talking about like
I
What?
just know. I'm kidding.
Talking about you being the person reviewing books,
Oh
giving
yeah.
feedback.
Sorry. I know. I got like the attention span of a rabbit today. Um. Yeah. No, it's totally weird. And once again, though, Oz kind of like helps me out sometimes when we do that kind of stuff because he makes me sound a little bit smarter in terms of the gaps of when I talk. Space is important too, But yeah, no, it's weird. It's really weird. I still ask for advice from a lot of people, and
Mhm.
sometimes
I still do
it's
too.
actually yeah. The weirdest thing though was like when someone, and they're usually it's not like an idea based thing, but it's like craft based or something like that. But like a lot of like the I wouldn't say like senior ACDs, but like some of the CDs and stuff like that who, sometimes they'll even come and ask you for like a hand and be like, hey, like, yo, like you can do this really, I know you can do this really fast. Can you teach me how to do that really quickly or something like that? I'll be like, oh, sweet. And you like kind of like want to do that because the more good time you buy with those people, the more you can just casually go over and talk to them. I'm pretty sure that like our CCO, even though he's a wicked dude, I think he secretly like hates me because I walk into his office unannounced a lot. Before this all happened.
Yeah,
You can even ask God.
Brent is a living, breathing sitcom character. Like if there's like a sitcom, if there's like
I
a
know, right? I know, right?
if
So
this was
I
yeah,
miss him.
if this was a sitcom, he would be Kramer or something, and I would be like George. So, but
Dude,
like,
what's funny is that Duffett literally said that the other day. He's just like, you guys are like the fucking Seinfeld of creatives. I was like, oh god.
oh, I'm not sure to take that as a like compliment
I
or
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a
not.
bad thing or if it's like, do people look at us that way? Like, should I?
Well, I'm wearing a Larry Davis hat right now, so
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a good answer. Like honestly though, I'm the same way though. I still feel fucking weird giving advice though. I don't feel like I earned that yet, right? But I know,
That's, I guess, it. Yeah.
but I think everyone feels that until they get that title of a creative director. But
But I guarantee you that's true. Yeah,
well,
that's
yeah, like I
exactly what
said,
happened. Yeah.
imposter syndrome is like a big thing, and if you don't know what it is, people who are ever listening, just look it up. You might feel it right now, but it's like pretty much the idea of like you think you don't deserve where you are right now, right? And especially like when you're like reviewing other books, I pretty much like approach it like if I was a student. Like I'm not like a person that's higher up or anything. I'm just, hey, one of you. Like I was a student at the time too, so I kind of know what the whole deal is, and that's like the way. Like I said before, you're always going to be a student and creative, and I like the way I don't tell people like, well, you should do this and this and this. I just ask them what their opinion of my opinion is, or like, oh, do you dig that? Do you dig that? I just give them like a lot of thoughts and stuff, but like. I kind of was like the same way in school too. Like you got to be open to collaboration. Like that's honestly collaborate. You don't if you got everyone. You get more success when you're collaborating with other people. And honestly, when people
I agree.
And when people show your books, you're collaborating. That's what you're doing. I don't feel like I'm giving them directions or anything. I'm bouncing off ideas off of you, and you're bouncing ideas off of me. So that's how it should be. That's how I kind of frame it as.
I think we are a minute away from an hour and it's my longest podcast yet.
Oh no!
And I don't fucking care. So I think it's great. It's great content.
Was it 40?
And I think that's the important part of it.
That's good.
You know?
So two-parter.
Yeah, it was like
yes.
It's like 40 minutes of Brennan's laugh, right? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you like I'm gonna say good luck on editing this because Brennen and I have like a terrible problem of interrupting each other and interrupting others because we're so scatterbrained we don't know.
besides remembering your questions because once one of you guys is answer one question, you already forgot what question.
We have a common joke where we tell people that we have like bird brains where we're very bad at like. We're very bad. Maybe because like I'm not sure about Brennen, but I have all these useless facts and like thoughts in my head. Like I don't have like space to remember things, even though it was like 10 minutes before what happened. So like, but that's how my brain is, and like I think kind of Brennan's like the same way. So that's why we kind of relate with each other. But
and also I think we're always just all over the place until we relax, and then we're actually able to kind of.
It's also a bit of self-medication too, if you get what I'm saying. So that's probably why.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of self-medication.
Don't do drugs.
All right, so I can't wait to get back to Toronto when everything is done here, and sit in a bar, have some nachos and beer with you guys too, with other people.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the time that you guys are given to this talk here. And I guarantee the students will appreciate a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully, because this is knowledge that is very difficult to have that kind of conversation with your student. So I would like that's what I'm trying to provide to them.
Yeah, I would like to say one thing, just as like
go ahead.
Leaving. I forgot to mention this earlier with the whole entire when you go meet people and stuff. The more that you can relate to somebody about like just your own personal like stuff that you did growing up, like your own personal life, the more these people are going to feel connected to you. The more they're going to feel like they grew up next to you, kind of thing, right? And the more that you feel like that connection with that person, the more that they're going to open up to you about ideas and stuff like that, and like helping you with ideas, and also talking to other people about your ideas. Like I was lucky with talking, for example, Leo. Like the first thing we were talking about, oh man, you're from St. Catharines, like you're from the Niagara region. Holy shit, no way. I'm going to definitely help you out. You're a Niagara boy. That's like all he would talk about kind of thing. And then like it was always like those little hints and hits here and there. So it's very important, I feel like, just, exactly what Oz says, be yourself and, talk about yourself. Talk about yourself when someone asks you something and like, when you have an insight, some of those best ideas with the best insights come from real, true things that happen to you. When you live through those insights and you can come up with an idea that really serves to it, that's like the best. As like honestly the best. And you can get to it easy when you're a little bit more open to people about it, right? And when you find like-minded people, it's awesome.
Quick one, I just want to say one thing too. I don't want Brennen to have the last words.
No problem. Yeah.
No, honestly though, like that was a good point, Brennen. But you gotta remember though, like advertising is just like, yeah, it's not your life. You gotta take care of yourself. A lot of people go through like burning themselves out and stuff. So
yeah, I meant like growing up and shit.
No. This is a separate topic right here. I agree with you. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like honestly, like well-being, like mental health and everything is really important.
Yeah.
Don't burn yourself over like late projects and stuff like that. It happens once in a while, that's fine, but don't do it every day, right? It's not healthy and it's not good. So young kids, like, future ad magicians, take care of yourself. I can't wait to work with you guys. And also, if you're brown, there's like dozens of us in the industry. So we're slowly getting more and more minorities in this industry. So that's very important. And hopefully, if you
most definitely,
yeah, and hit me up if you got Graph will give you my info, but like hit me up if you ever want to talk or show your book or anything. I know it's extremely hard to get meetings, especially if you have a name that doesn't sound Canadian or anything. So yeah, just letting that out there.
By the way, Raph knows some really dope ass tech deck videos. If you ever want to watch any, they're pretty sick.
I would definitely want you to like take a look at it.
I still got the image of like that dude with the fisheye lens and ollieing over the fire hydrant. That was the best. 3 fingers ollie. Oh,
remember that? Yeah, that was super good.
Oh,
good photo sessions that are
we could probably talk about skate videos like for a while.
Yeah, probably you need to start something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need to go out to shoot too, Brennen. Some photography.
Oh yeah. It's been
when this is over.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's got a little cam. He's got a little.
Of course.
Little film. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, he will come by. Guys, thank you so much, and I talk to you guys. And this is the end of Raphscast episode 5, Tales from Mohawk. Take care, guys.
Podcast.
Bye.
Yeah.